Hi guys, John with you again, and it's time now for build update number 2. Okay, I'm going to get the painting done now, and the weathering, basically get it all finished off. So far we got it built. I'm after doing another little bit now. I just added some storage onto it, just around the turret and things. And before anybody asks, and before the the rivet counters, should I say, not the sprue counters, but before the rivet counters come in and say, it's all well and good putting storage around the turret, but what's holding it on? Well, I've invented a special super magnetic cloth. And that's what's holding the storage on. Okay, special, very, very special, and that's what's holding the storage onto it. Okay, so let's go on to the bench. We'll have a quick look at the storage that I'm after putting on. A couple of little bits, not a major amount, and then we'll get stuck into the painting. Okay, so down to the bench. Quick look at the storage, and remember, it's held on by a special magnetic cloth. That's what the storage is made from. They invented it during World War II. Only used it during World War II, and it was only the British that used it in Africa on this particular tank. Never to be used again since. Okay. Okay, so there you go. There's the storage held on with that special stuff. Alright. Just a couple of bags there, tarp here and there, another couple of tarps and things. There's probably a tent, for the drape over the side here so they can sleep at night. And there are bags and things, and I have another backpack there, and we've got some ammo cans there and another bag there. Okay, so that's it. That's just all the storage you'll have to put on. Just makes it look that little bit more interesting, a little bit sort of, a little bit of personal touch, I suppose we call it. Yeah, I know. Yeah, okay. The storage wouldn't sort of be on like that. It'd have to be hooked onto something. But like I said, it was that special stuff they invented, and they tried it out, and it worked. Oh yeah. Also, I did the aerial. I changed the aerial on it. I initially had a bit of stretched sprue. Didn't like it because it had a horrible bend in it, so I went for my guitar string one. Okay, bringing the camera in a little bit closer. Right, and when that settles down, there we go. We can see it's got the bit of guitar string. Keeps it nice and straight and springy, and it won't bend or anything like that. So that's it. That's the only kind of adaptations I'm after making to it. Nothing really exciting or strange. So, get down now to the painting of it. This part obviously isn't fitted. I'm after putting the tracks on, as we can see. So I'm going to pop off the tracks again. They're quite loose, which is good, because they're when they're too tight, they can tend to snap the holder there for the wheels, the little axle thing. So I'm going to get the bottom section painted. No, just this really section here, the wheels, so I can mask them off, then put on the side skirts and stuff. So all will be done will be a base coat, NATO black, then the desert yellow over it. I'll use the ordinary dark yellow that I normally use. Dark yellow over it, and then go back over the wheel section there with rubber black for the rubber on the wheels, and the return roller along the top. Okay, the idler wheel is solid steel, so I don't have to worry about too much about that. Okay, so I'll get that done. We'll come back then, we'll have a look at it when that's finished off. I'll put back on the tracks, because I'll be painting the tracks separately as well. How I'm going to do the tracks is I'm going to give them a base coat of NATO black, then rust up everything by giving it a kind of an overspray with with a couple of browns. Basically, is all I'm doing. Just a couple of different browns on over it. Just light spraying of the browns on it. Then go over it again. Then each of these pads here with rubber black, and the end bits then will have that sort of a rustyish metal look, and the rubber pads obviously will have that rubber look to them. That's all I'll be doing to the tracks, and like I said, with the rubber black then on the wheels, and everything else will be the desert sandy colour, the dark yellow. Okay, so I'll get that done, we'll come back to you and we'll have a look at all that. Okay, so I'm after getting this whole underside painted. I'm after getting the tracks done as well, as you can see. Right, you can see the tracks there. The metal parts are all nicely kind of a rustyish colour, and the rubber black then on the pads. I've also done the wheels. Okay, I'm after attaching then the top onto the thing and sticking on the side skirts. And as you see, we've got gaps, so I have to put a bit of filler in there to fill that. But we do have some gaps. We have some sort of highs and lows along here. So I just need to do a bit of cleaning up, a bit of sanding, a bit of filing, a bit of getting this to fit in a bit better there. We've got a big horrible gap here. So I'm going to try and either use a bit of filler or something to get that just a bit neater, really, and a bit of sanding here on the sides just to get them down to a smoothish transition or whatever. Yeah, that's the only kind of thing I don't like about this kit, as in when you put the two sides together, there was an awful lot of work in getting them to fit together for a first place. It didn't really kind of fit properly, so I had to kind of force it in. And as I said, I mean, I've had to put in a bit of filler along here because the gap there was just too much. I put that filler in last night. Sprue glue, that's what I used. But I just need to clean it all off a bit. Couple of little areas here, another tiny couple of little bits of sprue glue will fit in there, and then some sanding off and getting all that nicely ready. Then when that's done, then I'm going to mask off the bottom section. I'm going to go for the black and white technique on the top, NATO black all over, and then slowly build up the dark yellow. Okay, so it's going to get a bit of tonal variation in that. So the next step now, like I said, is to fill all the gaps, bit of sanding, bit of just making it all neat, really. So there's plenty of little bits of work done to it, which to me is all part of modelling. And like I said, when things all fit perfectly, there's no real work to be done, but we'll enjoy it anyway. We'll enjoy it. So next step, get them done and get back to you on that. Okay, so I'm after getting the black coat down, NATO black. That's my shadow coat. I went over it, I had a good look to make sure that all the seams and things that I'm happy with them, basically, because it's one of the things that the NATO black will show up if there's any bad joins and things. But I'm happy enough with all these. There's the main body of the tank. Okay. And the top. And here's the turret. Okay. So I'm happy with all that. No problems so far. I've even made a start on the figure. Okay. I'm after getting the flesh done on the figure and the the uniform colour. Now I got to do the webbing. His beret, his headset, also the microphone and the leads. And if you can see in there, I'm after adding in a bit of wire in there for the headphone leads and on the microphone as well. So, okay, the handset for that. Happy enough with that figure. Now that figure, the more he gets painted, the better off he's looking. So I'm happy with him. I'm going to go for NATO black on his uniform, on his beret, and then flat black on the headphones. Because if I did the whole lot flat black, it just wouldn't stand out. Not that it's going to stand out much anyway, you know, with the headset over the beret. But the fact that I'm going to go for two slightly different shades of black, it might make it stick out just that little bit, just enough for it to show that that they're different. Okay, and for the webbing, I'm going to use khaki. Now I know I'm probably supposed to use a buff colour, but I'm going to go for the khaki just so it stands out again. Bit of poetic license, you know, doing what I want to do rather than what I'm supposed to do, and I'm happy with how that turns out, to be honest with you. A lot of the times in the past when I've kind of gone away from the colours you're supposed to use, I'm happy with the result. And like I said before, and like I've often said to people in the past as well, I don't stick to the colours that you're actually supposed to use, because I'm not entering competitions and things like that. And by using, say, only 2 or 3 different shades of green and 2 or 3 different browns, you can cut down on the amount of paints you're buying. So you can kind of buy in advance. You can get, you know, sort of with a set of, say, 10 colours, you can get your full range out of that, and you can darken them and lighten them with washes, you know. So I'm happy enough with how I do things. Okay, now next step for this now is I'll use white for the highlights, and that's the old black and white technique. Compliments of Andy's Hobby Headquarters. I like his technique, it works, and especially when you're going for a sort of a monotone, you know, just the one colour all over, it gives us different shades, and I'm quite happy with the outcome of that. So I'm going to give it the white highlights. We'll have a quick look at that, and then I'll go on then to the dark yellow for the main colour of it, and then we're into detail painting and weathering and things like that. So next step is the white onto that, and like I said, we'll have a quick look at that then when that's done. Okay. Okay, so I'm after giving it now the highlights. So it's got this black and white technique, as I say. I just stuck the turret on there just so you can see it kind of all together. Right, so far I'm after giving it a base coat of XF. There's a bit too much light there now. Come on, XF69. There we go. XF69 Netto Black. White then is white. XF2 flat white. And for the dark yellow, I'm going to use dark yellow, which is, come on, XF60. So I'm going to bring that up in slow passes, just mist it on and just build it up really slow. And by doing that, then you end up with your dark panels and your light, well, your dark kind of sections around the panels, and the panels and a bit lighter. Just puts a bit of tone into the thing. You know yourself, you know how it all works out. So we'll get that done. We'll have a look at that then, and then we'll be on to the detail painting. So next time you see it now twirling around on its little twirly base, will be in the yellow, or the deserty sandy colour. Okay, so I'll get that done and get back to you as soon as I can. Okay, and there she is now with the desert yellow all over, and as you can see with the pre-shading, that certain areas, they're just that little bit darker. Nothing major, nothing dramatic. You don't want it dramatic, you know. You don't want it sort of that it's obvious that you've got sort of big patches of lighter colour, but you just want the sort of the gradual shading in there. Okay, so there she is. I'm happy with that. So let's move on now to the next step. And the next step for this will be to do the detail painting. We've got tools along here. We've got tools here at the back. We've got cable. We've also got all the stowage. Okay, ammo boxes, bags, stowage. What else have we got? We've got some more tools here on the front as well. So we'll get them done. Oh yeah, and the aerial. We get them done. We'll come back, then we'll have a look at it at that stage. Then we'll be putting on the decals, decals, transfers, stickers, and whatever it is you want to really well call them. So we get that done. Come back, then we'll have a look at it. I'm also going to touch up on the spots along here, and the thing, as you can see, where I got some paint on them due to my my bad masking. I didn't mask too good on those, but like everything else, you can always come back in and touch it up, so it's great. It's handy enough like that. Okay, so I'll get them done. We'll come back, then we'll have a look at it before we put on the decals. Then we'll have a look at it with the decals on, and then we'll start the weathering. So next step, detail painting. Okay, so there she is, and the detail painting is done on her. Yeah, it was okay. No problems with it, shall we say, and I'm happy with the colours. Now, I know they look very stark at the moment. Everything will blend in together with a bit of weathering, and when we get the decals on now in a sec, I'm going to put on the decals, I'm going to give it a gloss coat, and then we can start on the weathering. Bit of chipping here and there, couple of washes, some dry brushing, and it'll start to look kind of more realistic. Giving the colours here, they really sort of stick out. Don't actually look all that, you know, when you look at it like that. I always find this is the weirdest point when you're making a kit, is just after you finish the painting, you know, the detail painting, and the main thing is you haven't actually weathered it yet. It just doesn't look right. It's the easiest way to describe it. It just doesn't look right. You have to sort of get the weathering done to it. Once the weathering is done, then it all just kind of blends in together, and it makes the whole thing look very good. Right, I've done the figure. I'm happy with the figure. Okay, so there's the figure. Now we'll just give it a second for it to your camera to zoom in. Come on, do a decent old freaking job, will you, for fix's sake? Come on, please. You have to be nice to this camera. Sometimes it doesn't want to. Maybe if I do that first and then bring in my hand. There we go. Okay. Oh, there's the figure. Not a bad figure, like I said. You know, nice bit of detail on it. Okay, so there's the figure. I made him a lieutenant as well, as you can see. I gave him 2 pips. I promoted him. So so there we go. It's purely because it's easier to give 2 pips than to try and draw on chevrons onto him to make him a corporal or a sergeant. And being a commander, tank commander, he'd either be a sergeant or an officer. So this fella, I've made him an officer. Anyway, there's the figure. He'll pop in there to the turret. So the next step now is the decals, decals, transfers, stickers. Okay, so I'll get those on. We'll come back then. We'll have a look at it once the decals are on. I got it gloss coated. Then we'll have a look at it before I start the weathering, and then we'll have a look at it then while I'm weathering it. I'll show you 1 or 2 of the techniques I'm going to use. Do a bit of chipping on it, things like that. Okay, so Next step now is the decals. Okay, now as you can see the decals are on. I even stuck Charlie into the turret there. Still all nice and shiny because I'm after gloss coating it. Okay, so there we go. There's only a couple of decals on it. There's 2 on each side, 2 in the back and 2 in the front. So that was quite easy. So the front ones. Then gloss coated it, and for gloss coat, as usual, this is what I use. Alcad 2. Now I must admit that I really was amazed with those decals because they were so old. The paper had gone kind of yellow and things like that, but they went on grand. I had no problems in them whatsoever. Even with these ones here, because what they are is you get the bare square and you can put in the numbers in the middle. I put in the HQ, well, you could have had 1, 2, 3, 4, right up to 9 in there. But you know, they went down. They laid in perfectly. I had no problems with them whatsoever. Then again, I wasn't going over any details, so you know how soft they were or anything like that didn't really matter. There wasn't going to be any problems with them as long as they went down. You know, I didn't have to go to lay them over rivets or anything like that. So next step now is to get the weathering done. Okay, my first step in that is I usually give it a wash. I make down a black wash, which I've already got made down now. Simple. I use this stuff here. Okay, war paints matte black. Mix it with water. Okay. Here we go. Here's my little cup of it there. Right. And how you know it's good enough is you put it on the side and watch it drip down. And you can tell from the as it drips down the clear side whether it's too dark or too light. Now you want it kind of in between. You don't want it too light, but you don't want it too dark either, because if you go too dark you could end up darkening the whole thing. But by having it nice and light, not too dark, if you want it darker you can always give it a second coat. There's always that. Okay, so my next step now is to get that all covered in a nice wash. Always have a couple of these handy as well, right? So if it's starting to pool anywhere, or if you're starting to get streaks, you can get rid of them quite quickly. So make sure you have a couple of them, you know, on your desk, right beside you where you're working away. So if you put it on, you can grab it straight away and get rid of it. The faster you get rid of it, the less staining you're going to have. Now there shouldn't be that much staining because, like I said, I'm after gloss coating it, but hopefully it'll work out grand. Now what I'll do is, while we have the camera on, right, I'll just do a bit here on the bogey. Okay, so we get our wash, right? Start at the top. Wash it over the areas, and you can see by using the gloss coat on it, there's kind of nice like a little barrier. It doesn't, the wash doesn't really want to go on, which is perfect, right? Because what will happen is it'll just settle in all the little grooves and things. Okay. Okay, so there we go. And basically you let that dry, and as that dries, then that will see, there's it working away with the little cotton buds. Anywhere where it starts to pool, get rid of your excess. As you can see there, it collects nicely up. You can compare the two then, right? because it's not a filter, it's a wash. You want it to go around detail and make detail kind of stick out of it. You don't want you're not you don't want to change the full tone, like when you go on the side here like that. Now we've got a couple of rivets down there, so that should kind of collect along the rivets. But not totally colour the inside of that. If you want to darken the inside of that, you do the wash like this, which is an enamel wash. It's basically the same idea, except it uses enamel paints and it uses white spirit. Okay, for that it's a much darker wash, and it will penetrate that gloss layer. Okay, grand for areas in there like that will get grimy and all that kind of effect. Okay, but you want it much kind of lighter on the main vehicle, unless of course you want it that bad or that strong on those areas, right? And the same again then if you find that that's a bit too much or whatever, you can kind of remove bits of it like that off your flat areas, and then you get a nice effect in there. Okay. And remember, that's only sort of one part of a large process, and you play around with it. You get it to how you're happy with it. You either remove a bit, add another bit on, things like that. Okay. And once I've that done, then I'll move on then to a bit of chipping. Some people chip before they give the wash. I prefer to sort of chip after it. No particular reason. It's just how I do it. So I'll go on, continue on now, and I'll get the rest of it done with the wash, and then I can start on the chipping. One thing I did forget, just forgot to say it, and only just after adding it now, okay, is 1 or 2 drops of liquid soap, okay, into the wash. It just sort of breaks down the surface tension of it. Any kind of liquid soap. Personally, believe it or not, what I actually used this time was a tiny little drop of baby shampoo. Yeah, Johnson's baby shampoo. Just a small little drop, and as you can see, it just goes much better. It flows much better there. Okay. I was wondering with that one why it didn't. As you can see how it dried out. Okay, it's drying in nicely. Forgot about the baby shampoo, or the little bit of liquid soap. Okay, what it does, it just helps to break down the surface tension of the wash. So therefore it'll just lay down much easier. If you notice, it's not sort of running off like it did here in this one. Okay, so now there we go. I'll carry on with the rest of that. Sorry about that, but better so late than never before I got onto the main thing itself. Okay, so just 1 or 2 little drops of liquid soap into your wash, and away you go. Okay, so there she is after getting a wash, and as you can see, it's made it's made the panel stand out that much better again. Okay, next step now is to give it a dry brush. I'm going to give it a dry brush of the original dark yellow colour over that. Okay, I'm not going to bother with giving it a darker dry brush, but I'll give it the light dry brush, which is why I'm not going to do the chipping on it yet, because I'll be doing the chipping with Hull Red colour, which will, you know, it depict where it's kind of the paint is actually literally chipped off and it's gone down to the primer layer. And these things would have all been primed in sort of a red oxide primer. So the Hull Red is kind of the nearest that I have to a red oxide primer. So I'm going to give them a prime with that, or I'll use that for my my chipping colour. So next off, I'll give it a dry brush with the lighter colour, as in, you know, the original dark yellow. We'll see how that works out. I may go over it, you know, especially over sort of some of the really raised bits with a darker dry brush after. We'll see how the light one goes first, and then go sort of a darker one over it. We'll see what that looks like. Okay. The thing about weathering is it's all a case of the thing itself will tell you how it wants to be weathered, if you know what I mean. You'll say, okay, it needs a little bit more of this or a little bit less of that. Depends on what you want to get for a finish, you know. But believe it or not, I'm very, very happy with how that's turning out. It really is looking quite good at this stage. We'll just carry on now and see what the dry brushing will do to it. Okay, so I'll give it a dry brush. We'll come back, we'll have a look at it then and see what more we've got to do to it. Okay, I did the dry brush and it didn't really make that much major difference to any part of it really. Some of the nuts are a bit more visible on it, alright, some of these rivets and things, but in general really nothing drastic, no major changes. Doesn't seem to be any different, to be quite honest, which is the only way to describe it. So on now with a bit of chipping, and like I said, for chipping I will be using Hull Red for that. If I have some Hull Red, I will have a quick look here through my stack of paints. Mad how you sort of decide to do one thing and then look and say, oh no, well, I don't have that, so we'll have to go on with something else. But no, I don't appear to have Hull Red. I've red brown, but that's a bit too, that's more of a kind of a rusty colour than what I was actually looking for. So it looks like I'll be going with the old reliable XF 69 NATO Black. Okay, so I'll be using NATO Black for the chipping. For the chipping, I'm just doing some minor chipping. I don't want it too much because I'm really liking how it's looking so far. So I don't want to kind of go drastically changing it or ruining it. So I'll add a couple of chips here and there. Usually when I say that, I end up going overboard. So we'll see how things go. Hopefully I won't go too overboard on it. So on now with a bit of chipping, and we'll see how that works. Okay, so the chipping is coming along grand, as you can see. Okay, keeping it nice and random everywhere, really, what you want, right? And just give you a little idea of what I'm doing. That's the brush I'm using. Okay, the light is directly on the brush now, so it's probably hard to see it. It's a 2-0 Pure Sable Expo Tools brush. I like these. I got these brushes there quite recently, and they're absolutely beautiful. Right. So what you do is you get a piece that you want to chip, a little area, right? And you kind of, with the brush, very, very light, just a couple of little bits of feathering off it. Okay. Things like that. When that dries in, then that'll dry in then like that. There. Okay, which will look like scratches and things in the paint. you know, where see, a little scratched area there on the front. So carry on with the chipping, just sort of make sure you kind of get it generally all around. I also used a bit of sponge, did a bit of sponging here and there. Right. Now I don't want to overdo it. It's very, very easy to get to overdo it, but it's also very, very easy to sort of to leave a section out. Now I suppose the proper way to do it is just do it sort of panel by panel and go around, but I'm not known for doing things the easy way. Never have been, never will be. Okay. So as you can see here from along where panels are, they're the main places where chipping will occur. Edges of panels, because it's just sort of the edge of a piece of metal. And with wear and tear and things working off them and, you know, banging off them, things like that, little bits of chain paint will chip off and stuff. And in times of war, they're not as careful as they would be in sort of peacetime. You know, you're kind of tend more to look after sort of the mechanical side of it and the gun itself, and that's all you really worry about is your safety and things like that. Not really worry too much about what the vehicle actually looks like, because it's not a fashion show. It's a tool to get a job done, and the job done being basically is to for you to survive and for you to kill the enemy. So you're not really worried about what it really looks like. Plus as well, in a reasonably dirty kind of environment, you know, like a desert's. I mean, deserts aren't always clean, nice, pristine sand. It's sort of rocky outcrops, areas of sort of limited vegetation and things like that. But you will get areas where sort of scrub vegetation is kind of there, and usually where there is sort of scrub vegetation, it's usually quite bristly, you know, and hard, because it's hard wearing stuff. I noticed, like, in the areas of the Middle East that I was, any bits of vegetation that were there, they're usually quite robust. You know, you've got olive trees and things which don't really grow very high, which is good, I suppose, for them, because you know, they don't really get the chance. They kind of stay low to the ground. Easy to get the old olives off as well. That's why it's handy for them, should I say. But when you go through them, you get lots of cactuses and things like that. And there's another plant. It's called the crown of thorns, and it's quite a vicious looking thing, believe me you. And apparently it's what the Romans made the thorns when they put on Christ, these things, and it was always intended to, must bring some of that home, you know, to show my mother and other bits and pieces. You know, God rest her soul, she was a very, very religious woman, and I'm sure she'd have really liked a piece of that, but unfortunately it's been four times out there, and each time I kept forgetting to bring a bit. It's not very, very common, but it's there. You can see it in some areas. But it's kind of rare enough that I'd be sort of walking in those areas, and each time I do, I have other things on my mind rather than picking up bits of vegetation. Usually sort of doing a mine sweep or something like that, where you're a little bit more concerned with what might be buried underground rather than what's what's laying along the top of it. But the thorns, I'm not joking, they're about that long. Okay, they're stiff, and if you're in a vehicle and you drive past it, that is going to scratch up your vehicle, quite literally. So if you're going cross country, you are going to come across this stuff. So no. I'm quite happy with that. I think that's enough. Any more would be too much, you know. You could be going into the going overboard there quite easily. So there's the back. That area back there will be quite dirty because it's the engine getting into the engine. Areas wouldn't be as badly damaged as others. You know, in under here, you're not going to get much chipping in around here. You are around the ring, should I say now? I'll get a little bit in there and things like that. Now I'll carry on with a bit more of that. Not too much, as you can see. I've quite an extensive amount on it, but I just want to go over little areas where I have nothing. And I think that something should be, if you know what I mean. Definitely on high traffic areas where you've got hatches to get in, like the hatch here. So you're going to have where they put their legs. Going to be climbing up on these areas here to get into those. The handle, most of the paint will be chipped off the handle. Okay, that's in for getting into there. And then this side here, then they'd be using the handles to get up onto the turret, you know, to get up into this hatch up here, which is why I've got kind of quite chipped around here, around the front of it. Whereas, you know, once they get that hatch open, they'd be in there. There wouldn't be so much around here because there's no reason really to walk along there. But around the engine deck and the area where the tools are, things, obviously there'd be people up and down there. You got guys getting up to get the stowage that's around there, so they'd be getting up onto that. The hatches, the inside of the hatch there, that would get a bit of chipping. Paint would have chipped off it and things. Really, it all depends on the amount of use these vehicles would have gotten, and at what stage you're depicting it. Obviously, this by the looks of this piece, it's been out in the desert for some time, maybe even a year. And a year of use, believe me, in the desert, they get quite beaten up. You can see it in some of the pictures, even though they're black and white. You can still see that they are quite worn and but like I said as well, to be more concerned with making sure the guns are perfectly operational. The engine is working perfectly. I'm not too worried about the physical aspects of it, because the more it gets chipped and sort of I wouldn't say damaged, but chipped and all that kind of stuff, what would happen really, it would be it would add to the camouflage. Okay, it would add to the blending in. It would blend in a lot easier. So I'm going to leave that kind of dry for a while. Let it blend in a bit. Because as it dries, it dries a lot lighter. And the thing about the NATO black is It isn't a stark black, it's kind of a grey black, and it works absolutely fabulous for this. Hull red works the same kind of way. It's got that kind of a reddish tinge to it. Probably a little bit more realistic with the hull red, but overall I'm happy with that now. And believe me, there isn't much more to do to that now. There isn't much more to do to it. I'll give it a little while. I usually sort of, once I get to this stage, what I do is, like, if you look there, you can probably see it there at the edge. There's my laptop. I have it up to the computer. You say, look. But I'll just type in to the into the YouTube M4 Sherman. Sorry, M3 Lee Grant. It's a Grant, John, you're doing, not a Sherman or a Lee, right? So I usually type in that, and you'll get plenty of, you get some wartime uses of it. There's a series there, Killer Tanks, and the M3 Lee's in it, and you get some nice footage of tanks, these in action. And if you kind of pause and take a close look at the vehicle, you'll see how chipped up and how damaged they are and things like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that for a while, turn on the old laptop and look through some more, and by just having it there, you'll spot something and say, oh yeah, I could do that to it, or oh yeah, I'll do that more to it, get more ideas, shall we say. I don't want to go overboard on it, but I do want it to look good. No, that's once that gets a dull coat as well, that'll take the shine off the stowage. It'll ease that off a bit as well. Plus on the stowage now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a dry brush with buff, XF57 buff. That works lovely. That's a great one for giving dry brush to clothing for some weird reason, but it seems to do a nice job of it. Even on black, believe it or not, even on black clothing, like I've done it there for the figures. If you remember, I did the 1/16 scale Tiger tank. I dry brushed the figures with buff. Also, I give it, I use brush in the airbrush from a distance of about a foot, well, 6 to 8 inches anyway. Give it an overspray, and it works as a dust coating. I give that's my final bit to it. So, like I said, I'm going to leave that for a while, think about what more I'm going to do to it and stuff, and we'll carry on then from there. Okay, I'm calling this one done. Okay, I don't think there's any more I can do to it. I think it ended up pretty nice. Even if I do say so myself. Of course I say so myself because I like it. I think it came out lovely. I really think it's nice. Lovely little kit, 1974 when you think of it. There's some kits that are out today wouldn't even be a patch on it, and you're paying big money for them. So if you search around, I'm sure you'll pick up some of the older TAMIYA kits. This is a fabulous little kit, it really is. And if we get a couple of close-ups of it, this is just a base that I stuck it onto just to make it look flesh. But if you take a couple of close-ups of it there, you can see the figure. Okay, and TAMIYA are not always known for their figures, but I can tell you that is not a bad figure at all. Okay, especially considering the age of the figure. Alright, I'm happy with the weathering on it. Right, got some nice scratches and things on it. Right, we've got our fuel spillages. Because that is basically what they do. They just discolor freaking everything. Okay. Here's the back doors there where the engine is and all that, and the exhaust pipes up here and everything else. With them all kind of rusty up a bit. Okay, and a bit of extra storage that I found around the place and stuff. But overall, I'm really happy with it. There's the final reveal, if you may. Let me try and get that to kind of zoom in properly. Okay, there we go. Ta-da! Lovely kit, really is. And there's nothing really more I can say about it. You've seen the build for it from start to finish, from the unboxing of it right through the building of it, getting the painting done, the detail painting, and now finally the weathering. And yeah, marks out of 10. Let me know what marks out of 10 you'd give it. Personally, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Where it would drop 2 points. It would be nice if it had some kind of little bit of an interior. I did the Academy version of this. Well, it was the Academy version of the Lee, which is just basically the same body but a different turret, and it had some nice internals in there, so you could have had the doors open and things. So it lost a few points there. I can't fault it in fit. I can't fault quality of the parts in any way. The fit was lovely, and for what it is, it was really good. Another place then where it dropped another point, shall we say, is all these little things were already molded onto it, so it made it a very quick build. Whereas if you had to kind of add on these yourself, you know, the doors, these things here, the fuel filler caps and things, if they had to be added yourself, then you know it would have gained a couple of points. But overall, I can't fault it at all. So there she is, lads, from TAMIYA, the M3 Grant, and we just leave it at that, shall we? Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that, lads, and don't forget, if you're not subscribed to the channel, do subscribe to the channel, because I'll have a lot more builds coming up with a lot more old TAMIYA kits. I have a little stack of them there, and I'm going to kind of get stuck into them. My next build, more than likely, I'm thinking, yeah, still thinking. I'm not going to give away any hints. When you'll see the unboxing, that's when you'll see it. And don't forget to join me and Abby on Mondays for the bum. Okay, every Monday we'll do our bum. The bum is back. Yes, the bum is back. So, for a finish, don't forget to subscribe. If you have subscribed, thank you very much. And go out and buy yourself a kit, build it, and enjoy it. It's John signing off. I'll catch you in the next one, lads. Stay safe and enjoy your modelling.